Welcome back to the latest episode of the Key and Mang audio experience. I'm Key, as always, joined by my fellow co-host Mang. Mang, how are you?
I'm good, Key. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Can't complain. I'm excited for this one. So today we have a really special guest, the educator, celebrity photographer, and all-around businesswoman, Jasmin Harrison. How are you, Jas?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me today. I'm excited to be on the podcast.
Yeah, me too. I think it's gonna be a dope conversation. So we like to open it up with our guests giving us a little origin story about how they got started. So could you give us a bit of a background story to how you got to where you are now?
Sure. So again, my name is Jasmin Harrison. I was born and raised in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I attended college at Lincoln University. It's the first ever established HBCU in the country. I tell that to everybody that wants to listen to it. And so I'm an educator and I'm a photographer. How I got into education, I actually the first kind of ever job I did was working at a summer camp. I was an art teacher and I really liked it. Like the kids loved me. I enjoyed, sharing time with them, being able to teach them whatever it was that I had to teach them that day. So that kind of sparked the interest in me. When I was younger, I actually always loved to play school. Like, I like to be the teacher. I like to give everybody assignments and worksheets and stuff like 2 plus 2 right down on the paper. It's funny that even in my childhood I kind of was just hinting towards something that I would grow to become. And then I first started working full-time with AmeriCorps. I was a tutor in Bridgeport, Connecticut, working with children in sixth grade, a math tutor, and I fell in love with it. And at that point I realized that it was a passion of mine, and not only a passion, it was a gift for me. And I got started in photography as well when I was a child. I used to love going through old family photo books. Like I would spend hours looking at my baby pictures, old Halloween pictures, family reunion pictures, stuff like that. And then as I got older, one day I was like, you know what, let me just buy a camera. It was President's Day weekend and they were on a good sale. And I, had some extra money. So I figured, let me just try it out. And that was in 2019, and I got my camera in February 2019, and I didn't even take my first picture until October 2019. So I really just took a chance at it, and I knew that I always had an interest for it. I had took some photography classes in high school, and I was like, let me just try it out, and it took me way farther than I would have ever imagined, even way sooner too.
What are there's a lot to dive into there based on your story. But I want to go back to you and the education component. In your eyes, what makes a good educator or what makes you a good educator? Because I feel like you can have all the knowledge, but if you don't know how to disseminate it to the students that you're trying to teach, then you might as well just close your eyes and throw stuff at the wall and hope it connects. So what makes a good educator in your eyes?
I agree. I believe that you have to have passion and that you have to have patience. Like, you have to have a passion to really want to work with children. It's not something that people like to do. People ask, I tell people that I work with kids and they look at me like I'm crazy. So I realize that everyone doesn't like kids, and I could understand why. I have my days. So you have to have a passion for it. It has to be in your heart. And I would say that you have to have patience, patience to listen, patience to understand someone who's thinking way different than how you think and how you operate.
How did you learn how to accommodate to different, I guess, types of learning styles? Was that a struggle for you early on as an educator?
Surprisingly, it wasn't. I feel like for me, myself, I enjoy taking advantage of different kind of learning styles. Sometimes I like to listen, sometimes I like to read things, sometimes I like to use my hands. So I can understand how each of them are important. I can understand how each lane can get you to, getting to what you want to do, which is learning that lesson. So I feel like it kind of came naturally to me. Um, Thankfully, like, I've worked with a lot of different kind of children. Right now in my career, I work with children with autism um, full time, and then I still work with typical children afterwards. But um, luckily, thankfully, God placed it in my heart to just allow me to adapt. And I feel like, me having that passion for it and me having that patience, it follows me wherever I go, and it just makes me be able to adapt to the situation.
What have you learned in your experience being a teacher, being a tutor, and not working with kids with autism?
Um, One thing it has taught me is that people need love. And like, it's not even children, but just people need love. And I see that, we can all think about a teacher that we had that acted like they hated coming to work, that acted like they couldn't stand the kids. And, think about how far you got into that class, whether it's how much you learned or, how comfortable you felt there. And then we could all think about a teacher who encouraged us, made things fun for us, looked us in our eyes, gave us high fives. And you could think about how well you were able to thrive in that environment. Even if we didn't get an A, maybe you just felt so comfortable there. Maybe you learned, a little bit of something that you wouldn't have learned elsewhere. So it's really taught me that people thrive in love. And it's taught me how to give love to different people. It's taught me how to be accepting of different kind of people, whether it's, whether we don't see eye to eye mentally, whether we don't see eye to eye emotionally, whether we don't see the eye to eye on, different views and stuff. It's really just taught me that people need love to be able to thrive. And then once you give someone love, that's when, after that point, is when the relationship can grow and you can, see things and break down barriers and stuff like that.
With your tutoring, weren't you doing like a tutoring business as well?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep.
What sparked that idea into like going off on your own?
Yeah, so that was my first ever business that I ever started, my tutoring business. That's my first baby. And I started to do that after I was an AmeriCorps tutor. So I realized, like, I have this passion for this thing. Like, I do it pretty well. I enjoy it. I made curriculum for myself during the school day. So I feel like I could do it in the evening. And my kids were learning a lot. The kids I was working with in school was learning a lot. And that says a lot because, kids in Bridgeport can be a little bit difficult to deal with. First of all, it's hard to get them to sit in their seats sometimes. So once I was realizing how much they were really able to learn with me, I realized that, let me try to bring this to other kids as well. So me having that from my 9 to 5, really, it sparked the idea to help me to work on my own, work for myself.
Was there anything that you saw lacking in like the 9 to 5 school system that you wanted to bring into like your own business? If so, can you like expand upon that?
Absolutely. One thing, so with my students, we listen to music if we want to while we work. Like of course, it's all clean music, it's all appropriate, but I have a student that we listen to a lot of Taylor Swift while we're working, listen to a lot of Ariana Grande while we're working. So I like to make my learning environment fun. I like to listen to my students. I like to tailor it to them. A lot of the things in the school system, whether it's because you have a class of 30 kids and you just can't individualize it, or whether it's because the teacher doesn't care to. My learning styles are very individualized to the student. And it's a lot of, I like to use hands-on learning. I don't just like to sit and talk to them. I like to, help them touch things, feel things, move things around. Like when I was teaching algebra, I'm solving for algebraic equations, like solving for variables and stuff. I kind of used like pieces, like each number was on a piece of paper, and my student was able to it was kind of like a puzzle, like she was able to move it over here and stuff like that. So I really try to make things hands-on for kids, make things really interesting for them, and make it all about them rather than, have the kid adapt to what I want to do, have the kid adapt to my learning style, which I feel like school doesn't leave much space for individuality.
Yeah, I think it sounds like you just do a really good job at meeting the person where they're at, or meeting the student where they're at, and then just adapting your game plan according to where that person is, and then helping them build from there, which I think is really cool. In terms of, I know you said you started with AmeriCorps, or you got
Yes,
one more thing to add?
yes.
What's up?
Key, I would like to ask you, in the PT field, like, have you noticed anything that you feel like is lacking, that if you were to open up your own practice or even in your day-to-day, like, do you do what I'm doing?
Yeah, I definitely think that there's a lot of things lacking in the healthcare system that I try to incorporate into my business. So, for example, I think like PT in the insurance world, you're not able to really, you're seeing so many patients in one day, you're not really able to communicate with them and have touch points outside of the sessions. And I think that's where most of the results come from. So like with my business, I definitely have like daily and weekly communication. I think that's a big thing. One-on-one time, like a lot of times you're like, I'm not double booked now at my job, but sometimes like in the past, I have been double booked and not able to give like one-on-one attention. So I kind of eliminate those things with my business. But I think that kind of gives you the inspiration to kind of create your own when you see like what's lacking and how it could be better. So that's my main thing. Mang, what about you?
No, I think you hit it all. I think basically it's a more of a time thing of sometimes you get trying to see three, four patients in an hour, and if you juggling your attention between four different people, you can't give them that individualized care for their pattern because you have to focus on three, four other people. So I think when you can venture out, when you see that and you know that's not what you how you thrive or what you don't want to do, you can implement the things that you don't want that you don't like into your business and have those be staples for what you're trying to create. So I think you covered it all, Key.
And I tell people too, like, some if when possible, if you see yourself getting into a field self-employed, try to get into that 9 to 5 field because it's like free training. Like, and we get to see the holes, we get to see the problems that people want solved. So it kind of just, gives you content type of thing. Like, yeah.
And also, I think I used to hate going. I still don't really like going to work, but I used to hate it so much because I'm like, this is dumb. But now I kind of look at it differently. Like I'm more interested in learning certain things because now I'm just gonna use it and take it and use it in my business and like perfect it and put my own spin on it. But like now I'm a little more invested into work because of that. So I just like kind of changed my perspective on how I think of work, and that has helped me like get through the days.
That's
So
a,
it is like kind of like content. It's inspiration.
yes,
So
yes.
definitely use your 9 to 5 as that. When it comes to Ming, I think you had a question before this. I don't want you to forget.
Oh, it was just about like if you're getting started, if someone's listening to this and they want to get involved in education, like what are ways that they can get started if they want to tutor, if they want to teach, like what have you found that's helpful for you?
Sure. I would say volunteer, at an after school program, something like that. Like I said, I started working at a summer camp and they hire, I don't want to say anybody, but they kind of hire anybody. Like as long as you're above a certain age, you don't need a degree to do it. So, I would say look into summer camps, volunteer at a lot of places. There's a good amount of mentorship programs, after school programs in Bridgeport or wherever people may be listening at, that you can invested in and volunteer. And then once you get in the door there, get to know the right people and ask them for some job recommendations or openings and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a great place to start. And I think if you have like the passion for teaching, you can even teach like online now. Like there's courses, like there's so many different ways to get involved. I just think you need to like perfect how you're delivering the information and like really find what works for you and then kind of figure out how you want to roll it out. But I want to ask, what skills did you learn in opening your tutoring business that allowed you to be successful with your other businesses?
Yes. One thing that it taught me is discipline and planning. I have to have my lesson plan together. I don't want to show up there and I'm kind of winging it. Like so, it definitely taught me discipline. That taught me how to set time aside to plan for things. And it's taught me how to think outside the box and to really be creative. And I say that in a couple of ways because I don't have a tutoring business. I don't have a location. I don't rent a space to use. So one time, for a while, I used the library. For a while, I was working out of a friend's space that I, rented for that amount of time. So it even got me creative by not allowing me to not having my own money to buy a space. And didn't let that stop me. It allowed me to think outside the box and think, where can I find a space to use?
And I think there's usually a way to get things done. It's just you gotta have the creativity, the openness to try and find the solution to the problem that you have. And I think that's really cool. So with you've mentioned some of the skills that help transition. Are there skills that you're trying to perfect now that will help you with your other businesses?
Absolutely. I'm still trying to build discipline, but in a new level. I'm trying to build deeper discipline. So I'm trying to get into the habit of waking up early, trying to get into the habit of putting my phone down and spending more time really, really learning, really, really studying. Yeah, I think that one thing also that I'm learning is that as you reach new levels, you got to go deeper. So it's teaching me how to stay hungry to I know, of course, we all want to reach those new levels, but it's teaching me how to stay disciplined and stay hungry to get even better at my craft as well. Whether that's learning, whether that's devoting more time, stuff like that. Like, it's teaching me a lot and pushing me to see what it takes to get to the next level. And I realize in business, there's a Lauryn Hill lyric that says, "How you gonna win when you ain't right within?" So I realized that in business, it's not just show up somewhere and punch some buttons and do what you're told to do. Like, you have to have your mind right. You have to have your intentions and your heart in the right place. So it's also teaching me that as well.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. You mentioned some of your other businesses. Can you break down what other businesses that you got going on too?
Yes. So my day job is working with children with autism. I have a tutoring business, and I do a lot of community work. So I work with the Village Initiative Project, College Prep Skills, and College Prep and Life Skills program. So I'm a college prep mentor there. So twice a week, my program meets with middle school students, and we teach them life skills and college prep. Our program also caters to high school students weekly, and we take the kids on college tours throughout the year, stuff like that. I do another piece of community work with Harry Bell and Color Positive Thought organization where I do free tutoring on Mondays. And I also do photography, and that's the business that I've been devoting a lot of time to as well. And I
Yeah,
work with
you busy.
yes, and through photography, I shoot for myself, and I also shoot with Bars on 95, which is Connecticut's #1 hip hop and rap platform. Our mantra is skills over politics, and there it's been an amazing experience, and I get to shoot with a lot of different high profile artists and even artists who are coming up in the game. So yeah, very, very busy.
How did you land that Bars on I-95 deal? Because I like listening to that. I think Lady London was on there. I was like, oh shit,
Yes, yes. We
that's
were
dope.
Lady London's first ever freestyle that she ever did.
It
We
was
caught her,
tough.
yeah, we caught her early on in her career. So basically, I got to do Bars on I-95. We're working with other music artists. Early in my career, I worked with Sholey and I worked with Kaylee Roselle. And as they posted my work on social media, the bars people it caught their eye. So yeah, just me putting myself out there and being consistent. People tagging their photographer is what helped me get my job. And yeah, Bars 95 saw my work online. They reached out to me, and then we talked. We sat down, we talked, and I'm here. I made it to 1 year of working with Bars 95 last week, actually.
Congrats, that's dope. That's dope as hell. How do
Yep.
you how do you manage like doing all of this? Like, what is your routine like? I know you are into a lot of like personal development and mindset. Like, how do you manage to fit all of that in and make sure like you're still invested in all your obligations, but like you're right within as well?
Yes. And it's literally by the grace of God. Like, my day job, I get out pretty early in the day. I don't have a 9 to 5 p.m., but I do have a full-time job. But luckily I get out early for my day job. For my day job, I go right to a tutoring session, I go right to a mentorship program. And then I can kind of schedule my photo shoots as I'd like. So right now I'm actually dying down from photo shoots for a little bit from taking commission bookings because I just want to spend more time on myself as well. But yeah, like, just scheduling my time out, and somehow, yeah, I may get home at 9, 10 o'clock a lot of days, but somehow I just have the time to do it. I feel like, maximizing my days, pushing myself, energy wise when I don't want to show up, still show up, and getting a good night's rest is very important for me as well to be able to do all that.
How do you take care of all aspects of your health, whether it's physically, emotionally, mental? Like, how do you make sure that you prioritize those aspects?
So the first thing that I like to do is take inventory of all those things, like, take self-inventory, think about how I'm feeling, think about how my money is looking, think about how my relationships are going, stuff like that. And, I've been getting into the habit. I haven't done it every month this year, but one habit I've been incorporating into my lifestyle is in the beginning of the, or maybe like the last few months, the last few days of a month leading into the next month, I'll write down my mental, physical, financial, emotional, business, and interpersonal goals for the month. And I think about, what's been going right, what's been going wrong. And for the upcoming month, I kind of like move my priorities around. Like, if I feel like my business skills, my discipline, my whatever is kind of lacking, I'll move that up to the front and tell myself that I need to focus on this a little bit more. If I feel like mentally I haven't been on my A game, I haven't been my best, I'll prioritize that to the top. So, I feel like for me, and I'm not perfect with it. I have my times where I'm kind of like, just going through the motion as everybody else because I get so busy. But taking good inventory, like really stopping and pausing and thinking about what's going on and how I'm performing and things like that, and figuring out what's a priority. And for me, business isn't always a priority. For the first half of the year, myself, my emotions, that was my priority. So I took a step back from business because I felt like pouring into myself would give me a better return than pouring into other people. So yeah, just figuring out what's important to me and what I want to be in the weeks and days and months and even years to come, and figuring out what am I doing that's getting me there and what am I doing that's taking me away from that, and trying to devise a plan to get on track.
Yeah, it sounds like your self-awareness meter is on an all-time high. Like you know what you need to focus on and what can kind of take a backseat while you prioritize the other things. Have you always been like that, or is that something that you've had to grow into?
Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. This is me in the past year. And like I've had times in my life where I've battled with depression, I've battled with low self-esteem, I've battled with low confidence, and they really got the best of me in my life. And going through those moments and going through those days, weeks, months is really what gave me the fire to nip all that in the bud and to not let that stuff win. So I would say that within the last year is when I became this self-aware. At the beginning of the year, I was the first time I ever wrote down like my mental, emotional, like those 6 areas for me. It was my first time ever taking inventory of that. So it's just something that I started in this past year. And in the past year of my life, from like summer 2021 to this point, I've become a stronger woman and a stronger person. So it's kind of new for me. And I'm not perfect. Like, I never like to lead on that I'm perfect. I don't get it right all the time. I have my days where I don't check in with myself, but I do have it in the back of my mind that I know what I need to do to get back on track when I do get too far off my game.
Yeah, I think I always say like self-awareness is kind of, it's always like a work in progress. It's like this, it's always gonna be like some sort of spectrum, but it gives you the ability to have a feedback loop to like know what's working for you and what's not, and it gives you the opportunity to make changes. But if you're not like having it in the back of your mind, you just go through life going through the motions and never improve. And I think a lot of people need to do more like reflecting so that they can become more self-aware, and then they'll start to see other aspects of their life get better. But if you're not giving yourself that time, you kind of just get stuck in the same cycle.
Do you,
Sorry, go ahead.
do you guys like to do anything like that? Like take inventory? Do you like to journal? Like, do you guys do any stuff like that?
I've been journaling more now, and I can say that it has helped like me feel lighter because like I think we all here have a lot going on. So like trying to have everything in your head, you definitely can't do that. So it's been helping me like just feel lighter mentally. It's been helping with my content as well. Like I'll write down like content ideas. I feel more creative when I journal. And then you can also see like how you felt at a certain date and like how you've gotten through that. So I think seeing like the emotional progression is pretty dope. I used to think journaling was like for weirdos, like 2 years ago.
too.
Like I'm not gonna fucking journal. That's stupid. So yeah, I definitely journal now, and I've even been. If I don't feel like journaling, sometimes I'll even record myself and just talk, just because I want to get more comfortable on camera. So I've been doing that, and then sometimes I'll just turn it into like a reel if it's something I want to post. But so I do things like that, and then I do try to like work on my routines, like getting up early and stuff, which isn't perfect, but having in the back of your mind allows you to like strive for that. Even if you may not hit it every day, you're still like striving to do it.
So, I would like to say that a little while ago, I'm not sure if you still do it, and if you don't, it's no slight. But Key, I remember you used to post like you had like 1 out of 365. You had a goal like working towards working out every day, and that was a little while ago, and that actually gave me motivation to just see someone like working at something every single day and like sharing your journey. That gave me a lot of inspiration. So I appreciate that. Like in the back of my mind, like I gather inspiration, I gather lessons and value from a lot of different people, and you're one of those people that kind of helped me get on the path of being consistent at working towards bettering myself.
Yeah. I don't thank you. I don't do that anymore, but that's definitely something I want to get back to next year. Just because this last year has been like hectic. Like I wasn't working out for like as much, and it was crazy. But I definitely want to get back to that. Mang, what about you? Your journaling goals, routines, things like that.
Yeah, no, I've been journaling more lately. It hasn't been a long thing, but trying to get more consistent with it because like y'all, I thought journaling was whack. It's like you don't really journal. But I also have this thing where I just try and talk to the people that are close to me and like voice out what I'm feeling, what's stressing me out, what went well, kind of just a recap of what has been going on through the day because I have a tendency to keep everything in and I think that just weighs on me. So trying to have different outlets to be able to voice or mention what's on my mind and what's bugging me and what's going well and how we can address and problem solve throughout that. So those have been my two platforms. And I think, like you said, it kind of just lessens the load that you're feeling and it helps you like get clear on what you're trying to accomplish and what you're looking to do.
Kudos to y'all.
What would you say? I forgot my question. Oh my God, this happened again. Oh, I would say, Jazz, you talk a lot about like trusting the process. How do you get yourself to start like really trusting the process and like going through like the steps and like having patience?
Yes. All right. I'm gonna tell y'all this gem that finally clicked for me. So a couple of years ago, again, I personally learned a lot from social media. I try to tailor my page to feed my mind, like not just be reading bullshit all day. So I saw this quote online that said, "The day you plant the seed is not the day you harvest the fruit." So that right there has kind of been floating in the back of my mind for probably like a good 2 years now, and I've been chewing on it. I've been thinking about it, trying to adapt it to my own life. So that's one quote that I keep in mind. And the thing that helps me right now, and it finally kind of clicked for me in a way that I can explain it and really digest it, is that I feel like as humans, we are one with the earth, and a lot of the laws of nature apply to human beings. So I was telling someone the other day that I kind of look at growth, whether it's skill acquisition, whether it's getting rid of old habits, whatever, kind of like planting a seed. So, like that first day, and I studied biology in college too. So, I have a different understanding of these things. So I look at growth and acquiring new habits and acquiring new skills and even getting rid of old habits as like planting a seed. So that first day that I put that seed in the soil, I kind of liken that to the first day that I have the idea of, what, I need to change this, or I need to, do better this area. So, put that seed in the soil, and then I gotta water it. So you have to water it daily, you have to water it weekly. So watering it means doing the work, like, learning about how to change my habits, or learning how to do that skill, learning how to edit that picture on Photoshop, learning how to explain this hard topic. So watering that seed is kind of like doing the work of bettering yourself and bettering yourself and bettering yourself. And sometimes you have to water a plant for weeks and months, right? And realizing that things take time. Like I kind of felt like things would happen for me right away early on in my career. 3 years ago, I felt like things would happen sooner than they actually do happen. So just allowing myself that time, giving myself that time, and not feeling pressured by time passing by. And also After you water the seed has to germinate, and germination in seeds is when like those little teeny tiny sprouts start to grow. And sometimes, you might get a little teeny sprout once a week, and then another week you get one, and then another 3 weeks you get one, and then maybe after a month you actually got to see some physical growth. And it's kind of the same way for growth in humans as well. Like, once that seed is germinating, maybe in a week, I'll start to see my habits change a little bit. And then in a week later, they change more. And then a week later, it changes a little bit more. Or whether it comes down to building a skill. At first I probably couldn't grasp it, but maybe a week into it, I'm getting a little bit better. 2 weeks, I'm getting a little bit better. A month or 3 months, I'm getting better and better and better. So just recognizing my small steps and congratulating my small steps and giving myself that time, and just realizing that the day I plant the seed is not the day that I'm going to see that fruit. It's not going to be able to. It's not going to be the day that I'm able to pick it up and eat it. So just giving myself that time, celebrating my small wins, and making sure that I'm watering myself, making sure that I'm doing the work along the way of me actually getting to see that goal come into fruition.
It talks a lot about your patience and your ability to have enough water to be able to plant to water all your seeds. Because if your cup is empty and you can't water anything, then you're not going to see any growth. But I feel like on social media, we see a lot of like everyone's success stories, and we don't really get to see the process. So I think it's really good that you're talking about the process, and sometimes things take time. What do you feel like with my mindset from glass half empty to glass half full? Like, what are your thoughts on what side of the fence you take on that one?
Yes. So at this time in my life, I'm a glass half full kind of person. But again, like, I had to really work to become this, and that shows that I wasn't always this way. Like 2 years ago, I was 2022, 2020, 2019, 2018. I was a very glass half full glass half empty kind of person. So it took me a lot of work, a lot of work, a lot of patience, a lot of I really want to say that we rewired my brain in the last couple of years, and it took a lot of time. So me just realizing that while I was a glass half empty kind of person, I didn't like the way I felt. I didn't like how I talked to myself. I didn't like, I didn't like where that was getting me. Realizing that I needed to change, and looking towards people like Eric Thomas is a big motivation for me. He helps me get my butt up in the morning and keep going. And I had to surround myself with success, or not surround myself, but just put myself in front of success stories. So go out and find someone who did something that I want to accomplish, listen to how they did it, and hear that, okay, they didn't start off perfect, they didn't start off rich, but they were able to get it done. So just putting myself in front of different environments that were thriving, and getting myself out of that glass half empty, that negative kind of thinking. It took a lot of freaking work. Like I can say I started my healing journey in 2019, and this year in 2022 is when I have really seen those fruits. Like it took me 3 years to really see the first set of fruits.
I remember you used to do the lives on Instagram.
Mhm.
That was dope. I liked it.
Thank you.
I was I was trying to look for them when I was prepping for the pod, but I don't know if you deleted them or what, but I definitely was tuning into those. That was cool.
Thank you. They're still on my page. They're on like go to the little triangle, the videos things. If you go all the way down, they're still up there. And one thing that I want to be is a transparent person. And I'm kind of private, but I want to be transparent in the sense that I want to be someone that other people can see that I struggle and I still make it through. Like you were saying before, Mang, social media is it seems perfect. It's a facade at times. People want to act like they got it all together. I'm never gonna act like I'm perfect. I'm never gonna act like I'm not struggling. But I do like to share that I can struggle and I can have my days, but I still make it through. And I think that people need to see that. And I really do hope that as I grow, and if my platform grows, if my followers grow in real life or on social media, that I hope that I can be that to people. And I am doing that with my students and in my little circles as well.
Do you find that when you were working on yourself and working on shifting your mindset, that's when the opportunity started to come, like bars on I-95, meeting new people? Do you feel like it kind of the opportunity met the preparation and you were like, all right, I'm gonna take this and run with it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, and I can say that when I wasn't when I was in that half glass half empty mindset, and I was so negative, opportunities didn't come my way, or they came my way and I shut them down because I wasn't confident. I felt like I wasn't ready. I felt like I didn't have the ability to do it. But yes, like you're absolutely, as I've done the work on myself, as I've grown my skills, mentally and emotionally, and also within my craft of education and photography, like as I do that work, as I grow, as I get more confident in myself, opportunities absolutely come my way, and I even have more confidence to go out and make an opportunity for myself too. So, absolutely.
So now, as more opportunities come your way, how do you filter out the right opportunities for you and maybe something that's not, maybe it's a good opportunity, but it's just not the right time for you? How do you go about the decision making of picking the right ventures for you?
Primarily I like to listen to my intuition. I do like to pray about things, and I just try to map out my schedule and think about, is this sustainable for me? Like, earlier in my career, I would kind of say yes to anything that seemed fun, and I realized that you have a point of failure when you have too much going on. So I like to listen to my intuition. I like to pray about it, sit and ask myself, does this seem right to me? And then, once I get past that point of checking in with myself, I'll try look at my schedule and see, like, if I add this on to my schedule, will I be able to sustain it? Will it take away from anything else that I'm doing? Will it make me, take away from my good night's sleep, honestly, as well? Like, that's how I filter it. And I also try to, one thing that I'm realizing is that when it comes to business, I want to surround myself with good people. Like, I was doing business a little while ago with people that seemed all right, but they kind of snaked me on the end. And so, I'm doing more vetting of people that I work with, because I'm realizing now that I bring something to the table, and I like to protect my energy. I like to protect my talents, my time, stuff like that. So even if it's like something with a good opportunity, but with not bad the kind of bad people, or people that are going to hurt me or might not have my best interest in hand, I'm probably going to turn that down too.
How do you go about vetting people?
I like to give it time. In my personal relationships and in business relationships, I kind of like to talk to people. I do a little social media stalk and see what they be posting about, stuff like that. um, and just I'm learning how to ask the right questions, and ask questions that kind of go beyond the surface and go a little bit deeper, that can kind of give me some insight into who they might be and how they might think. And I'm also realizing too that the person that I meet day one may not be who they actually are on day 20 or day 30 or day 50. So I've become less jaded with people in the beginning, and not always thinking that, oh, everyone's a good person. And not to say that I have trust issues, but being realistic and realizing that the person that they're showing me right now, I gotta still get to know them, still talk to them, still keep them at a healthy distance before I bring them closer to me and I call them a friend, or a business partner, or whatever.
No, I think that's very important to do, because in business, like, your relationships matter. Like, you can have a bad, like, you can be a good person, do good business, but then you do like collab with somebody and that can like really mess up your reputation. So you really have to be selective with who you work with.
Absolutely.
Um Speaking of like opportunities, I know you mentioned that you had a partnership with a shoe store, clothing brand, a clothing store. How did you land that? Like, what is that about? Tell us more about that.
Yes. So this is my first creative project in a while, and I'm so excited. I actually did my photo shoot today. I came here from my photo shoot. Um, so I'll be launching a seasonal lookbook. I'll be launching a winter lookbook, spring lookbook, summer lookbook, and a fall lookbook. Um, and I partner with Unknown Clothing out of New Britain, Connecticut. They have some amazing pieces. And how that came about was I was interviewing a rapper Fergal Bass. He's an amazing rapper. I got to do some work with him a couple of times. He took me on the road, and I was interviewing Fergal Bass at the store because he was celebrating his feature on BSF, the record label that he signed, so he was celebrating his feature on the album. So I went up there to celebrate with him. I got to have a conversation with him. And while I was in there, I was like, looking around at the store, and it was an amazing space. They have top of the line clothing, top of the line sneakers, like exclusive stuff. And they also have a lot of cool pieces, like whether it's art, culture, stuff like that. So I just fell in love with the space. And then so I saw that, I kept it in mind, like, I would like to do something out of here one day. And then later on, a little bit a while after that, I had the idea to do a lookbook. And, I want to get into more creative photography. I haven't shot for fun in a long time. So I'm thinking, like, what do I want to do? What kind of vision do I want to execute? Stuff like that. So the idea of to do a lookbook came to me. And I reached out to one store, and they said yes initially, but they were kind of lagging. So even this taught me to keep pushing and keep going after you get that first no. So I reached out to this guy. The owner's name is Makai. He's a real cool dude. I had a nice conversation with him and about his passion for what he does as well when I went up to the store. So I reached out to them on social media. I, shared my idea with them, and he was interested. So from right there, we got the ball rolling. I brought on a stylist. Her Instagram is Eve Saint Laurent. She did an amazing job with the outfits. Yes, she did an amazing job with the outfits. So I brought her on. I brought on 4 models, 2 from New Jersey. One of them is one of my best friends. Another model from New York. I went to college with him, and he's actually published with Target ads. He was in the Target store one time. He's done work with Shea Moisture, a campaign for them. And then I brought on, his name is Kyle. The other 2 models are Nidasia and Nanari. And then I brought in another model. His name is Harrison. He's from Bridgeport as well. So yeah, I asked them if they want to join me. I brought them on, and then I had a photo shoot assistant for the day as well, Dest, who was my first ever model that I worked with when I was learning how to work my camera. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just pointing and shooting and hoping it came out nicely. She was my model, and today she was able to double back with me as a help for the shoot. And yeah, I saw an idea for myself. I went after it. I didn't wait till someone came and approached me. I didn't let that first no stop me. I kept going, and it blew my mind. Like I said, this is my first creative shoot in a while, and the pictures came out so dope. I can't wait to edit them and post them. Like, I'm really proud of myself, and I feel great today. So I'm glad that I got to have that photo shoot, and I'm grateful for y'all for having me on board today and recognizing my work and stuff. Today has been a real cool day for me.
That's dope as hell. Yeah, Eve's my girl. We went to high
Yes.
school together. But yeah. Shout out to you. I really like everything like you're doing. What exactly, like, I'm not into fashion and like photography. What exactly is the look?
Okay, so have you ever seen like H&M put out a lookbook? Like, they kind of just help you piece together outfits and stuff. It's basically doing that. So I'm highlighting some pieces that the store is trying to push during the winter season, stuff that people would look good in. So just trying to help people think of ideas in their minds, and through it I was able to do some set design, and that's what I wanted to do as well. I want to get into get better at set design, and for a photographer in my personal life, that helps me too. So you see a lot of people who are online doing extravagant maternity shoots, extravagant birthday shoots, and I want to get better at doing that. So one thing that went into this is set design, and thinking about what I want to put in the background, not just a white sheet, but actually putting in different elements, putting in different textures, different colors, combining things, making them look together, and also leveraging my network as well to help me accomplish that for the clothing side.
With all that you got going on, what do you like, let's say the next 5 years, what's your next 5 years look like?
All right, so my next 5 years, my mantra for the next 5 years of my life is to learn, plan, and execute. So right now I'm in a learning phase. Like, I want to learn set design. I want to learn a few more things in photography that I feel like that can take me to the next level. And I also want to learn more about business and business as it relates to education. Next, I want to plan how to bring myself to the next level, and I want to execute that. So in 5 years, I hope to be working towards having my own education center, whether it's a daycare and or a space for ABA therapy, which is therapy that helps people on the autism spectrum improve their social and life skills. And I hope to see myself growing as a marketing photographer as well. And that's
Love
where the
that.
money is at. If I get paid to do like a off-white, commercial or a Nike ad or whatever, like that's where the money is at. So I'm trying to position myself to get into that lane. And that's right now I work with a lot of music artists, and I want to do that forever. I want to work with bars on that forever. But early on in my career, I'm gonna say that, but I'm realizing that at some point I'm gonna have to settle down, and working with artists and being on tour all the time is only gonna be fun for so long. So I want to position myself to be able to make good money even after that.
Look, you solving problems at the end of the day. So you solving problems, and that's where the bread is at the end of the day. You just gotta figure out how to solve more problems and you make more bread. But I really like just like getting to hear about your story and what you've accomplished and what you're going to accomplish in the future. If you could give our listeners 1 to 2 things that you want them to take away from this conversation today, what would you tell them?
Yes, I will tell them that, that quote that helped me, that the same day that you plant the seed will not be the same day that you harvest the fruit. And I say that to say, don't forget to spend that time watering your seed, and don't forget to cherish that journey as well. Like, as you're planting that seed and you watch it grow in a literal sense in nature, it's amazing to see a little seed turn to a little sprout and a little sprout and a little sprout, and like you get to appreciate that growth. So if you can appreciate that growth outward, appreciate that growth inward, and appreciate the time it takes to learn these lessons and fall in love with the process and fall in love with getting up early, because you know where it will get you. So don't be discouraged by the time it takes to accomplish your goals. Don't be discouraged by the time it takes to heal. Don't be discouraged by the time it takes to just become a better person. And celebrate yourself along the way as you reach those small goals, and be able to recognize those small goals too, because that's what's going to help build your morale, and that will help you keep going and staying encouraged to keep doing that hard work.
That's a bar. That's a bar. That's a bar. Jasmin, thank you for coming on today. Where can people find you if they have questions or want to learn more about you?
Yes, if you want to learn more about me, you can find me on Instagram at _JASSMINNNN. It's Jasmin with 2 S's and 4 N's and an underscore in the front. You can find out about me there. I post some of my work online and stuff, and from there, you'll be able to see a lot of the other things that I do as well.
Again, just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on and have a conversation with us. Really, really great to meet you, and I'm glad that Key was able to make this happen, because this was a really, really great conversation.
Thank you for having me, and congrats to you guys on all your growth. I've been seeing you post your stats recently. Not that's all about stats, but you guys are growing, and that's amazing. So congrats to y'all. Keep doing the good work, the hard work, all that good stuff. And I appreciate you having me. I really, really like on Instagram. I used to talk to myself, so it's cool that people want to talk to me and people want to hear what I want to say. So I appreciate your interest in you recognizing what I do as well.
Yeah, no problem. We're definitely gonna bring you back on in the future because you got some good things, big things coming your way. Yeah, but we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Peace out.
Peace.